The police officers who helped catch the man responsible for murdering schoolboy Daniel Anjorin with a samurai sword in East London say there was no time for fear.
A split decision was made to confront the attacker before armed backup arrived in a bid to protect others. Inspector Moloy Campbell was one of those incredibly brave officers, but he says he's no hero. We're going to speak to him in just a moment alongside his boss, Chief Superintendent Stuart Bell, who leads policing in the area.
In that moment of high kind of danger, is it calculation? Is it training? Is it instinct which kicks in? I mean, can you remember choosing to confront this killer?
Yeah, I can. The choosing to confront Mr. Monzo as opposed to contain, I think that was chosen when I was still in the car on the way, because on the way to the incident, I knew that a member of the public had been stabbed. A police officer had also been stabbed. There's a well-established model within policing to help you come to those decisions, and I tried to go through that and decided that confrontation was my chosen tactic ahead of containment.
Gosh. It's absolutely shocking footage for anyone to watch. You were there, you knew what you were going to encounter. This man had already killed Daniel at this stage. He'd attacked the ambulance which had come to try and help Daniel, and he'd also got into somebody's property and attacked a man sleeping, who was only saved, it seems, when the young child in the same apartment cried out. The knife that this guy was carrying, a samurai sword, meant it was very hard to approach him, and the pepper spray, you call it pava spray, had no effect. But when we talked about this last week and the guy was convicted, viewers were shocked that you weren't all equipped with tasers. Because when you witnessed it took 20 minutes, this attack from start to finish. And when you're watching it, you think, why doesn't someone get their taser out? Mm-hmm. You didn't have a taser on you.
I didn't have a taser. I'm a taser-trained officer. There's no shortage in the training or the equipment for tasers. It just happened to be that when this incident took place, it was within a very short period of time where I was in between refresher training, eyesight training, and some other training that you need to keep up to date.
But you have been fully trained.
I've been fully trained.
But you were in a gap between ticking the boxes on all of the training.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, because, forgive me, you're the professionals. Mm-hmm. I wanted you to have a taser out there. Mm. I wanted you to stop this guy as soon as you saw him. Mm. You only had the baton against a guy with a samurai sword. And how long was the sword?
I think the sword was 60 centimetres in total, curved. Yeah, I would have liked to have a taser. The organisation keeps a taser available to me. It's just that happened in that situation for probably the first day or so in my career. I didn't have access to a taser, which is down to my own refresher training that I need to do.
Yeah, well, everyone acknowledges you could have been equipped with a taser. I'm sorry you didn't, but nobody denies you showed the most extraordinary bravery. You're armed with a baton, so you go at him with the baton. He's got what we know is an incredibly sharp sword. What happened next?
Well, I confronted him, and I tried to keep my distance at first by using pava spray, synthetic pepper spray, and spraying him. The moment I did that, though, he kind of went into it. He put a triangle block in, which indicated to me that he was a trained fighter. That's not a normal reaction when you get sprayed. And then he turned around, and then from there he started closing down the distance very quickly, slashing kind of in the air, coming towards me. And luckily, we've got batons now which fully extend as you draw it. And so when you bring it out, it's then locked and extended. So luckily, by the time he got into contact distance with me, I had my baton up and at the ready, and then from there we hit each other. Yeah,
he clipped your baton and then sliced your hand.
He clipped my baton twice.
And you looked down at your hand, and what did you see?
I saw the inside of my hand, and a catastrophic bleed. His blood was coming out at quite the rate, yeah. So I had to sort that out first. So I had to then withdraw, and as can be heard on the film, another officer got a tourniquet put on my arm before I was able to go back and try and help.
Could you explain that decision you said to not to contain but to confront? Why was that? Why does the training say to do that? Because you feared that other people were going to get injured unless you essentially put your own body on the line.
Well, there is no training. There's no training to help you deal with a samurai swordman on the streets of London. That comes down to experience. That comes down to the instinct of police officers on the ground who are used to facing danger every day. My role was to go and take command of that incident, so I need to make a quick decision about what I need to do and what I need to demonstrate to the other officers. So I felt at that time that he's already stabbed a member of the public, he stabbed one of my officers. I didn't feel that lining up my officers in a containment was a wise choice because I felt that he would have
he was killing people.
Well, when I arrived, he was doing fighting poses in front of my officers with the sword above his head. After I challenged him and we had our to and fro, he was no longer doing that.
We should say your colleague, PC Yasmin Metchin-Whitfield, she was hit by the sword 3 times. She's had medical treatment. She's still not back on the beat as a police officer. But in your mind, you'd already seen the boy. I mean, I don't know if you knew he'd been killed at that point, but you knew your officer also was badly hurt. And I mean, for you to then go forward, I think it's quite a decision.
I think it's easy to complicate these things. If you break it down into simple terms, you've got a man with a samurai sword who's stabbing multiple people.
Yeah.
Now, when the public call the police and say, there's a man here causing this much danger to people, what do the public want? What do I want? What do the police want? They want the police to get there and sort that out.
Totally.
With what they've got. So that's what I expect my team to do. I expect of myself, and that's what happened.
Can I ask you, Superintendent Bell? I mean, my understanding, and I'm happy to be told I'm wrong about this, is that over the years there has been a reluctance to deploy tasers widely. Is that right, and is that changing?
I think there has been, but I think that has changed. So my views on the taser in relation to this incident, we had officers there with taser.
And he was eventually brought down with a taser.
Allowed us to successfully and safely conclude the incident with really professional teamwork, by the way. The other officer you mentioned, Yasmin, who was very, very seriously hurt, also had a taser at the point she was attacked. It's not a shield of steel. It doesn't prevent you getting hurt.
No, and in fact, when you watch the video, she is surprised by, she's coming down a small alleyway and he jumps out from the bushes. There was no way she could have employed her taser.
She was incredibly brave, as was Moloy, and all the officers there made those decisions. And if they hadn't, I am absolutely convinced more people would have died. And Moloy is right. Officers do put themselves in danger every day. We have 18 officers in London assaulted every single day and 2 seriously injured every week. And that's officers choosing to put themselves in danger for the protection of others. We do try and make sure they're equipped properly. I think the equipment is better than it's ever been. We've got 7,500 taser-trained officers in London now, and we're looking to increase that to 10,000. So we take our officers' safety really seriously, but we cannot make policing without risk. And I think we should applaud the officers that step forward and make those decisions. We should talk about it more, so thanks for having us and allowing us to talk about it. And we should never take it for granted.
But just to understand, so, because I totally accept what you say about the deploying of the taser, but it's not the case that there is a reluctance to have too many officers with tasers because they might then, for example, be used in situations where they shouldn't be used. That isn't correct.
I don't think so. We're looking to get 10,000 officers trained in the next 2 years. We want all of our emergency responders to have that equipment. As Moloy says, they have to be trained and accredited. It is a firearm, so they have to be in date with the training, otherwise they can't carry it. And that's not tick boxing, that's legislation. We have to make sure the officers are in date with their eyesight and they're able to use the equipment properly and safely. But our aim is to ensure that that particular tool and that particular option is available to as many officers as possible, including our neighbourhood beat officers as well. And we know there are some concerns around the use of taser, but ultimately it deconflicts most situations. And where you've got someone intent on violence, it allows us to, at distance, control that situation.
I honestly want to cry talking to you. We hear so much criticism of the police, and I know you all have to carry on your daily jobs with that criticism. But what you did in order to stop that guy on that day is heroic. I know you don't recognise that word, but it is absolutely heroic that guy murdered that poor young boy, Daniel. And I know that before we let you go, you did want to say, didn't you, want to pay tribute to Daniel and his family?
I think the way that his family have behaved can teach a lot of people, including myself, some lessons in stoicism and how to be humble. It's just not something I'll ever forget. And this entire incident is centred on that family and what they've been through and how they're behaving now. So, yeah, absolutely, there's much to pay tribute to them for.
And please do send our very best wishes to PC Yasmin Metchin-Whitfield for her recovery. Because
I will, as well as the rest of my team, who acted with great professionalism and bravery on that day.
And your extraordinary policing. Thank you so much for your service. It's so appreciated.